All right, welcome to another episode of Comics and Sweet Tea. So awesome for you guys to join. We are actually live tonight. Um, the last couple shows were pre-taped, so we're coming at you live and correct tonight, though. And for you guys that'll be joining later on, um, hey, everybody, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody, hey, subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel out. Um, Bringing these guys to you, telling their stories, um, finding out, what makes them tick, what got them into comics, or the ladies, what got them into comics. We're just trying to bring it to you, one story at a time. And we can only grow this thing by you telling folks about it. So please do subscribe, ring the bell, tell everybody to do the same. Got an awesome creator coming at you tonight. He's been on here before talking about his last awesome project, which we'll find out more about, to see if that is because I'm almost certain he's got more stories coming from that. But we're going to be talking about his new project tonight. So without further ado, the majestic bearded Kenny Aiken, and we'll be discussing Blue Heart Emoji. So let's get into it. Let me get Kenny in here, and we'll do it.
Hey, I like
Hey,
it.
buddy,
Majestic. I like it.
majestic.
I like
I'm
it.
telling you, man, that beard. I'm jealous. It's like I put when I did the promos for the show tonight. I made sure to put in there that I was going to say exactly how jealous I was of your beard.
I
So
woke up this morning. I woke up this morning, and I opened my phone. I hadn't put my glasses on yet. I'm looking at my phone, and I was flipping through the stories or whatever. I was like, I saw my ugly mug in there, and then I'm like, wait a minute, and I went past it, and I went back and like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, okay, that's Jerry just posting my face on there. I'm like, okay, cool.
man, I loved Apex, but I know we're not here to talk about that. Um, let's dive right into Blue Heart Emoji. Kind of where the idea. I know you've been working on this for quite some time.
Forever.
It's been a project very near and dear to your heart. Let's talk about it a little bit. Kind of what
Uh,
got you started in it, and go from there.
So, oh man, what got me started? I'm not sure exactly where it kind of got started. I think it's just kind of something I've been working on, kind of like subconsciously for since before I was working on Apex. And it just kind of, you know how things evolve, right? You have an idea, and then that one idea merges into another idea, and then you go, well, I could use this here and that there, and the pieces just start coming together, and then before you know it, you have this thing that isn't quite what you started with, but it kind of resembles a little bit of what you did start with, I don't know if it's like that for you, but for me, that's, kind of like, from an artist's perspective, sometimes you start creating something and it really just kind of takes on its own life. Right. And
Right.
that's kind of how this has been going. And so far I finished a couple pages. I should have sent you some stuff to show. Cause I don't have anything physically tangible yet. Cause I haven't got anything printed yet, except for a few prints that I had been working on, which were just the prints were just kind of a thing just to see,
Yeah.
if anybody be
Kind
interested.
of put your
Right?
feelers out there and see how people responded.
Yeah. So, I was putting them on my table at Comic Cons and stuff, and everybody's like, yo, what is this? Like, this is really cool. And I'm like, well, this is my thing. So, Blue Heart Emoji. Don't ask where the name came from. It's just I just kind of threw it out there. It was kind of going to be the I always kind of have like a working title, I guess, when I don't have a title for a thing. So that's just what I called it. And then as it just kept going and going, I was like, I'm just gonna keep it as that. I like that. It's got kind of an intrigue to it that I think is kind of cool. So basically, I'm Scottish. I'm a Scottish. I'm American, but I'm my bloodline is Scottish. And I always thought it'd be kind of cool, like to have like a Scottish, like, there's no like Scottish action heroes. I mean, Sean Connery,
Right.
but he's like a real dude. Like so. I was like, it'd be kind of cool. You got William Wallace. He's a Scottish guy. But I just kind of thought like, hey, maybe I'll make like a Scottish like dude, right? And he turned out he's not actually Scottish. I changed it around a little bit. He's from the Highlands, which is kind of like a play on Highlander, but also Legend of Zelda. So it's like a fantasy adventure story about the Prince of the Highlands, Trodoch, and he's like the warrior prince of the Highlands, and he's got this responsibility where that he doesn't want. He's going to go out, and his dad, the king, sends him out to go find this ancient relic to stop an ancient evil that they've had sealed away in the Highlands. And the Highlands is this floating island, so it's actually Scotland, but it's like floating, up above the ground, and it's been a prison for this ancient evil for a long time, and they've built their kingdom is still there and stuff. But they've kind of forgotten about the evil, and how it functions, and how it works and stuff. And so he's got to go find this sword. So the evil's coming out, right? And it starts to, turn people into monsters and all this crazy stuff. Kind of like, fantasy style stuff,
Right.
And so he's got to go find the sword. Well, he goes and finds the sword. And he meets this girl who at the time he doesn't know who this girl is, but she leads him to the sword. And she gives him this magical relic and then disappears. He doesn't know what happens to her. So he goes back home and then realizes that he actually failed. He didn't make it back in time. So so now he's so he didn't make it back in time and finds out that he accidentally makes it worse by actually unleashing the evil in the world by mistake. So now he's got to go find this girl whose power is tied to is kind of the key to defeating this evil, this ancient evil. So
Right.
that's kind of where it goes, and it's just like it's going to be I don't know how many books it's going to be yet. I'm trying to keep it small because I went kind of crazy with Apex for my first thing. It was like 9. It's going to be 9 books total, maybe more because it's that one's
wide open, man. I mean, there's so many different directions you could go with Apex.
It is, yeah. I mean, I have a plan for 9, three arcs that are 3 books each. Right. But then I start thinking of like one-shot ideas for like side characters and stuff like that. I'm like, maybe I can flesh this guy out over here a little more. And I'm like 7 years deep into Apex right now, which is kind of crazy. From start to now, and we just released the first trade, so I'm just kind of like,
right.
I'm really anxious to get going on this other one too, because it's just I have so many cool ideas for it, and I'm illustrating it this time. So I have Brian helping me. Brian, the artist for Apex, the line artist for Apex, he's helping me do layouts and composition for panels, right. Just to kind of keep me on track, because I'm just so all over the place with so many different levels of like doing things, and it kind of helps me keep focused, because like, okay, well, I have this page here, and I'm gonna work on this, and this is already laid out for me, and this is how I'm gonna do it. And I try not to deviate too much from what he's done, because he's really good at page composition, and so I just had to have him in on it somehow.
Right. Well, it's good to because I mean, I could see where something like that, especially the style and the story in general, the fantasy realm, it could be so easy to get lost in that real quick. I would think. I mean, because there's so much cool shit you can do with it. First off, and you just need a clear vision to kind of cut through all that.
That's the hard part,
to get your story out. But yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I'm having a really good time with it. It's I'm also this is the other leap I'm kind of trying to jump into. I want to get into developing video games. So one of the things I've been just kind of slowly working on learning how to use Game Maker Studio and Unity and stuff like that. And I want to do like a kind of just, I'm going to start small. We'll see how that goes, because I'm not very good at keeping things small. I tend to get a little bite off a little more than I can chew sometimes, but I want to make a small video game for Blue Heart Emoji, which is kind of going to be a right now, anyways, top-down isometric kind of like Legend of Zelda-ish kind of style game. So yeah, I got so as I'm writing the book and I'm writing the scripts and stuff, I'm kind of just planning out how I'm gonna arrange like the bosses, like which guys are gonna be bosses and which guys, how it's gonna play out. So it's all kind of tied together in my head. And it's kind of coming out that way. We'll see how that translates into a game. Right now, book first though.
Gotcha. Well, was that kind of always the intention to turn this into a game at some point?
Yeah, I think so. I always kind of had it in my head that I thought it was just some kind of like pixel art kind of thing. When I first drew him, he was like this little chibi dude. I mean, I don't know if you.
I remember that. Yeah,
it was like he was like a really small little frog guy, and eventually it just started. I don't know when it changed, but I just remember one time I drew him and I'm like, man, he kind of looks like Snoop Dogg. He's kind of had like this, this really cool, like slick, like lanky look, and I was like, man, he's pretty cool like this. So then I started drawing him more and more like that, and it's pretty cool. He's bald. I was gonna give him a beard. He's gonna be a frog with a beard because I was like, that'd be cool, right? How cool would a frog with a beard be?
Oh, you got to put a beard on a frog.
I went through so many designs with just trying to make a beard work on a frog, and I was like, it just looks weird. I remember there was a frog character in a video game called Chrono Trigger. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but he had a little mustache.
I have to check that out.
And his name was Frog, but he had a little mustache, this little teeny mustache, and I thought that was kind of cool. But I thought a beard looked weird on the frog, so I just went with the big hood, the big hooded thing, and I just think it looks so cool. Like it's probably my favorite silhouette for a character. I've actually used that silhouette before on the old man in Apex. He's got like the big hair. It's always just kind of been my favorite thing. It reminds me of Apex, or not Apex, with Afro Samurai.
Right.
Afro Samurai and Chamber from Generation X, that comic book. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Chamber's like my favorite comic book character, and he's just got that cool, like really cool silhouette that just looks cool no matter which way you draw him. Like it's just, this guy's got fire coming out of his body, and it makes a lot of cool movement stuff when you're, composing a page. You can have it just going with, with the flow, and just really can kind of add a little bit of life to things. So I really like that silhouette. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that again. We're going to do it with this character. He's going to have this big ass hood. That it's like a fur hood, and he looks kind of cool. And then I had to draw him without it once, and everybody's like, "Oh, I thought that was his hair or something." I'm like, no, it's his hood. Because I drew him without a shirt on. Without his jacket on once, and somebody's like, "Oh, I thought that was his hair." I'm like, "No, he's a frog. He doesn't have hair. He's got this big ass jacket." So.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I was flipping, going through the stories and everything, and that image popped up. I know it's been at least a couple of years ago, the first time I seen it, and I was like, "Wow, what is this?" And it just blew me away because he's, like you said, he's got that look, man. It kind of burns into you, It's not like those characters you see and it's just you immediately forget. It's one of those characters that stays with you. He's got a very unique look, and I really think you captured something with this.
I hope so. I think people are gonna like him. And he's got, he's got a really unique look. Like I've never seen anything that looks anything like that. The kilt, the leather jacket, the big giant hood, the armor, the big giant sword. I mean, the big giant sword is kind of like it's kind of become like a video game like trope nowadays with big ass anime swords and shit like that. But who cares? It's cool, right?
Exactly.
My favorite thing, Every time I play a video game, that has a character with a big ass sword or like a little knife or a dagger or whatever, I always gravitate towards the guy with the big ass sword. It's going to smash the shit out of everything. So
shit, definitely, you want that big ass sword because, even if he sucks in the game, he just looks cool swinging.
Right.
It's true. You might be getting your ass kicked, but you're looking good doing it.
Right. Exactly. And he's going to get his ass kicked a lot in this story. he's kind of a reckless dude. He just kind of likes to go in there and get crazy without really thinking about it. So
Right. So
yeah,
he's a
it's
shoot from the hip kind of guy and
yeah,
see how it
exactly,
all falls out. I got you.
exactly. So yeah,
So you said it's going to be a tight story. How many issues are you thinking right now?
Well, right now I have, let's see, I have the first two pretty much planned out, and like the last one. So I know it's kind of like a weird thing. I know that there's some stuff that's going to fall in between. I'm just trying to figure out how to get it to fit into the sizes that I kind of want to. Because with Apex, I was just all over the place with page counts. I've had the first Apex book I think was 30 something pages. The next one was I think closer to 40, and the last one was closer to 50.
Yeah.
For the first trilogy, anyways. And it's hard to maintain deadlines when you kind of have this random page counts. Obviously, it affects the budget if you're working with a team, and it takes longer to make bigger stuff. So as a writer, I'm trying to get everything kind of uniform and condensed down into because I mean, like regular comics are what 22 pages tops, 21 pages,
Pretty
maybe.
much, yeah.
I don't want to go that small because I think as an indie creator, you're kind of asking your customers to pay a premium price for something because we can't print 100,000 copies.
Right.
So you gotta give them a little bit more, right?
Exactly.
So I do feel like right now I'm sitting about 26 pages, I think, for the first book. I think that's a pretty good amount. And then I don't know, we'll see where it goes. I'm hoping to keep it at around 5 tops. I think 5 books. So
without spoiling the book, are there anything you can give us kind of key scenes with some you said this is going to be fantasy. What's some key things that fight scenes or creatures that you're really looking forward to doing, or can you tell me that? You can tell me to piss off, Kenny, if you don't want to spoil anything.
I guess I can talk about the first guy. So, the first guy, I guess the evil that he unleashes actually takes his form. So it's kind of like an evil looking version of him. It's not actually him, but it does look like him, and so it's kind of like he's fighting himself, right?
Oh, wow.
Like an evil version of himself. And when he gets back home, like I said, he realizes he failed. So his dad's gone, his brother's gone. Like he doesn't know, are they dead? Are they alive? He just assumes everybody's dead. And all of his people, his whole entire kingdom is completely just destroyed. And so he goes into the castle, and he just gives up. He's just like, I'm not doing this. There's nothing left. Like what's there to do? And then the evil tries to take him over and manifests itself. He's able to resist. I won't give the spoiler on how he resists it, but he's able to resist it, and that's kind of what unleashes that new form of the evil, which looks like him, so which causes a bunch of other problems, as a result of that. So he has this big ass sword, and he really doesn't know what the power is to it. So he's kind of he ends up, the first time he ever swings it, he wrecks half the castle.
Oh wow.
Just right. So and he doesn't know what it's for. Obviously, the evil creature knows what the sword is because they've used this weapon in the past to defeat him before.
Right.
And so he just thinks, he's just like, oh, you're an idiot because you don't even know what the fuck you're doing, right? So
right.
It's kind of an interesting thing because the evil guy kind of knows everything that's happening, and these people have forgotten about this evil. They just know that they were kind of living there with this thing that was imprisoned. And it was just quietly just living in the background, and now here it is, and they've kind of forgotten all the prophecies and all of the things that go with what do we do when this thing gets out? Nobody knows.
Right. All that knowledge is gone. I got you.
Right. So and there is somebody who does know, but he doesn't know that. Nobody does know that. So it's
Right.
it's going to be kind of a more of a worldwide kind of thing too, where he ends up leaving the highlands and going and seeking out help elsewhere. So
Sounds awesome, man.
thanks, dude.
So when are you planning on or your first Kickstarter? When are you looking at doing Blue Heart Emoji 1?
Well, I was hoping at doing this winter or this year right around the same time as
Right.
I did the. It seems like every time I say I'm going to do something, so the other thing happens in the place of that. So I feel
Yeah.
like probably spring. I'm probably going to do an ash can that's going to be a preview of the first part of the story, and I'll just kind of get everybody acquainted with it. I might do some like cool prints or some cool merchandise to kind of go with it, just kind of get people hyped up and ready.
Right.
And then after that, sometime next year, I want to do a full release of the story, the first part, and do it. So probably 2 releases next year. First one's gonna be an ash can. Second one's gonna be the big thing. So
Yeah, and you talk about the other things. I mean, you've got your other books with Apex Cybernetic and all that. Plus, you're an artist in your own right. You do shows with your art. I mean, you're constantly doing something artistic. If you're not doing that, you're jamming out.
right.
Yeah. How's that coming along? I mean, I seen where you did the custom job on your guitar, and which looked amazing.
Yeah, that's that one right there. Actually, that's So we did
Yeah.
oh man, so that guitar actually. So I bought that kit, and I bought that guitar kit at the end of 2019. And I was gonna do a really sick painting on it. I used to take painting classes out at the college so I could use the studio space because it's so big. I have such a limited amount of space here at home. It was always nice to just go take painting 3 or whatever. And I'm friends with one of the painting professors out there. So I'd go sign up for the class. I'd use the studio space, and it's always great, to get critique from people and stuff like that. It's a real good environment for that kind of thing too. And I was going to do a painting on the body of that. What ended up happening was COVID. They shut down the school.
Wow.
Everybody got all their art supplies locked up. Luckily for me, I kind of had a feeling they were going to shut the school down. So the Sunday before they locked everything up, I went and grabbed all my art supplies out of my locker. I had, $500 worth of oil paint and brushes and all kinds of stuff in my locker.
Oh, wow.
So luckily I went and got all that stuff out of there, grabbed the guitar and all the parts for it, and brought it home. Next day, they locked the school up for 3 months and didn't let anybody in there to get their stuff. So I put it in a box. I didn't touch it I put it in a box for probably, 2 months before I even touched it again. And then I was like, well, I kind of lost interest in the whole painting idea because I didn't have the space to do it. So what I ended up doing was I took a painting. I had the guy who prints my books in town here. I had him print a big print of one of my self-portraits.
Yeah.
Backwards, and then I did like an acetone wash on the front of that thing after I painted it with graphite paint or whatever.
Right.
Rubbed it off, and it's got like a really cool thing here. Let me grab it. Let's see if we can show this thing off.
Yeah, I remember that post you did of it, and it turned out awesome.
So yeah, it's got so it's kind of it's got my self-portrait on it kind of, but I did like a half skull kind of thing.
That's amazing.
So, and then it's like kind of it's like a gunmetal gray thing. So we did so yeah, and then I just kind of sanded it down, made it kind of rough. It's not really all that, it's cool looking. It's kind of like a beater. I like it. It's kind of tough. But this came out pretty good. We got a kill switch in it. My friend Ty helped me we got a kill switch in it. Pickup selector. I put some Seymour Duncans in it. I don't know where I found this knob here, but it's got like a little red band on it. It's kind of cool. And then locking tuners. I mean, it's pretty cool. I've been jamming on it. I got my I still need to buy a cabinet for it. So I've I've been playing guitar for probably 25 years now, and I have way more guitars than I have any business having. I'm not really that great. I just love dicking around with it. I mean, I can play, almost any chord. I can play a few scales, and that's about it. I'm not really, I'm not a super guitar player, but I like doing it. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't think I'm glad I'm not like trying to be a professional at it, because it's like one of those things where I'm like content with it being my hobby. Right. I'm totally cool picking it up, jamming for an hour and just having a good time with it, and then setting it down and just going back to whatever else it is I'm doing. I don't want it to become like art where I'm just so like, I'm so dedicated to it. I'm really always constantly trying to like up my game, always trying to be better, always, with the guitar, I'm just like, hey, I'm cool being this good.
Yeah.
I'm cool.
I got you. I completely understand that, because I know with art especially, it's so easy to lose yourself into it.
It can be hard,
especially if, what's the best way to put this? I mean, I couldn't even imagine if I actually painted like you do. I mean, I could see losing days in something like that, just trying to get it exactly like you want it. I know just, doing comic pages. I mean, I'll lose sometimes 8 hours in a panel, just lost in details. It's crazy, man. I mean, it is, but I love it. Everything else just melts away, and you just go into that zone.
Yeah, I think with painting is painting kind of is. I actually haven't painted I have a commission right now that I need to do, but other than that, I haven't painted. I had a solo show, my first big solo show at the beginning of the year was it May? I think it was May, beginning of May.
Yeah.
And I worked on that for 3-4 months. I went to Japan in December, got a bunch of reference photos for paintings I wanted to do. Did a couple experiments, kind of messed around. I did a huge painting of an alleyway that had a giant vending machine in it. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yeah. If you posted it, I've seen it, because I'm constantly looking at your paintings and your posts.
I think I did. I think a couple of them I forgot to post. One of them I know I didn't post. Even though I put it in the show, I haven't actually seen it since I brought it back. But I just had, I think it was a decent painting. I just had a hard time. Like, sometimes with painting, it's kind of, I get so wrapped up in the shapes. I don't really look at I'm not really looking at like, oh, that's a building. I'm like, that's a series of squares, right? Sometimes it takes a while for it to click in my head, like what I'm looking at afterwards. And I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to, hide that for a bit. But yeah, I haven't painted in a while. It's that one's kind of easy to get burnt out on, because I just get so sucked into it. And it was totally by accident too, the whole painting thing. I wanted to make comics. And, as you know, like probably everybody else that does comics too knows, there's no real, I mean, of course, unless you go to like Kubert school or something like that, there's really no way to learn how to make comics. No. You go online, you pick up what you can find, and, you use what works for you. Right. So for me, it was, I wanted to color. I want to learn how to color was kind of the biggest thing I wanted to learn how to do. So I went to the college to go paint, because I'm like, well, if I'm gonna learn about colors, painting would probably be like a no-brainer, right? Like, we're gonna learn about, and I mean, I guess I was kind of right about that, because I think I'm okay at coloring, but painting, like, something it just kind of grabbed me, right? And
you unlocked something with that. Yeah.
And it kind of sucks, because it's one of those things that, it's really super time consuming, so like, I spent, like I said, at the beginning of the year, I spent probably the first 5 months of the year working on that painting project, and I did some very large paintings. So, and I mean, I can't do them in the studio. The studio is about 14 feet that way, and in front of me and this wall right here, it's like 10 feet. So I got a window here and a door on the same side, so there's no ventilation in here. So I had to do it outside. So I got a big awning on the side of my on my house out here on the property, and I set all I screwed all my canvases into the wall, and worked on them outside. So
Yeah.
and I spent 8 to 12 hours a day working on those paintings, trying to get them all done for that show. And there's so many more I wanted to do, but I only ended up doing, I think I did 3 new alleyways. They're pretty big size ones, and then I did some like apples and stuff in between. And the reason why I did the apples is because the apples are quick, right? So I can do,
Yeah.
I can set an apple out, and I go, I'm going to paint this, and I do it every once in a while, just for practice or whatever. But you paint the apple, and I'm like, this is finished, right? I'm spending like 3-4 months on a painting. It starts getting really frustrating when you don't ever finish anything, especially when you're trying to produce art for something. You're trying to get this shit done because you gotta show.
You got a show coming up. Yeah.
So it's I do the apples because it gives me that sense of like accomplishment that oh, I finished something. It feels good.
Right.
And not that, the apples are cool. I always like painting the apples are kind of neat. One of my practice things is I'll do I think it was 30 strokes, not for those big ones because the big ones are kind of hard to do it that way. But I'll take a sheet about this big and divide it into four sections, and I'll paint apples in 30 strokes or less.
Oh,
so
wow.
30 paint strokes, and that's it's a good exercise for just stroke management, kind of figuring out how things are going to go and stuff like that in a short amount of things, because you can overwork things really, really easy.
Oh God, yeah, I know I could.
Especially with the oil paint, because it starts, if you're working too much paint, things start getting muddy and start turning brown and black, yellow, and it starts looking, especially if you're using a lot of contrast colors, you can just end up with a gray mess, over a period of time. So it's a fun exercise. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that painting. That's kind of painting is though, right? You just kind of just go and just get lost.
Exactly. Yeah, here probably the last 4 or 5 months, maybe a little bit longer, in my spare time, I've been messing around with watercolors. I've always admired it, just painting in general, but I was drawn more to watercolors because, it's so unpredictable. That's the one thing that I love about it because, you can do everything you possibly can to control it, but going by how much water you apply or whatever, you lose that control just like that.
Right.
No matter how you're trying to structure this thing, and I got to fooling with it, and I'm nowhere near good at it by any means, but I tell you, I enjoy it. I really do. I've lost hours to this stuff, so I couldn't even imagine being halfway decent at acrylics or something like that, because like I said earlier, and you mentioned it yourself, you could lose time, just disappears, and I could easily see that if I actually bailed off into it like that, because I know I am with just my regular work. I'm a perfectionist, and I'm gonna stay with it until I get it exactly like I want it. If that means losing sleep, if that means not eating, everything else just kind of fades away. But another thing about it though, that I've noticed just playing with that, it's added so much that I never seen coming with just my artwork, and just say coloring in general, coloring comics. I've picked up these little techniques and these little things that I never would have seen or would have had no clue about if I hadn't tried my hand at watercolor.
Right.
It just, it's another thing, another way of growing.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody shouldn't, they shouldn't get locked into, well, I'm just a penciler, or I'm just a colorist, or get outside your box and try some other things, and it grows you,
Right.
That's a weird way to say it, but you know exactly what I'm saying. I think it helps you develop.
I'm gonna join this chat. How do we join the chat here? Let me see if you know what? I won't let me do it. Somebody was saying hello on YouTube. Let's
Yeah, I think he's gone, but he was here earlier. But anyway, yeah, that's Victor Medina. Uh, he follows me, and I does he follow you?
I don't
But
know. He sounds familiar. I might follow him.
he does some really good work. You get a chance if you don't follow him. He goes by the same thing on Instagram. Just check him out. He does some really cool stuff. He kind of puts you in mind of McFarlane, kind of.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I'm at. Let's see here. Who was it? I can't remember who was it. That I think it was. I always go on his Instagram. I always go on his Instagram thing when I see him. Why is my phone's trying to do stuff? Oh, D. I met D at what is his last name?
Hausner.
Hausner. Yeah, he came to my table at Ontario. He was like, "Hey, I follow you because of Jerry," and I think it was him. And yeah, he's such a cool dude. He's such a nice guy.
D's a sweetheart, man.
Yeah,
he really is.
Cool. Yeah, I've known Jevin. I know you know Jevin Loop.
Yeah, Jevin Loop. Yeah,
I've known him for like a year. I seen him. I met him last year when I went to Ontario Comic-Con down there. It was kind of cool because he's got the nuke rooster.
Yeah,
and I was like, it's funny because we looked at each other. We like looked at each other in the eyes. Like, hey, I got a bird guy, you got a bird guy. It was
yeah.
And we just kind of sized each other up a little bit. Like,
yeah.
we're kind of like homies now. But it was funny because I was telling him about how when I see another dude at the store or the gym or wherever with a beard, kind of look at each other like we know what's up, like.
Exactly.
The bird comics, like, hey, me and him are going to do something together. I told him, so we're going to do something together.
That would be incredible.
I got some ideas. He's got some ideas, I'm sure. Me and him are going to do a collab on something. I got to do a collab with you sometime too. So we got to make something. We got to make something together at least, even if it's just like a one shot or something.
God, yeah, I would love that, bro.
We got to do something because I think I know there's like a lot of people in this. It's kind of like there's this like a small group of people. Dan Price is one of them too. I'm like, man, it'd be so cool to do something with him as well. There's just like kind of a little community kind of around here. I'm like, man, there's a couple people I do just do a quick little book with them or something like that. Just something fun, something creative. Something to just do
there's
something.
There's so many incredible people in our little space. That since COVID come along. And the world turned upside down. A lot of good come out of that, though. I mean, yeah, it was a horrible thing, but it kind of brought all of us together too.
Right.
And my book didn't really take off till I never really sat down and actually thought about it until I actually had time to sit down and think about it.
Right.
And my daughter kind of pushed me with that. She's like, hey, you're not dead. And I'm like, I've told this story a million times. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. I'm not dead. Why don't I go ahead and make this comic book? And there it went. And here we are so many years later, still doing this thing, and it's
now.
Huh?
Which one are you on now?
This will be number 4 in the series, but number 5 overall because I had that prequel come out earlier this year.
That's right. I did pick that one up. I think I have a stack of Kickstarter books about this high.
Oh God, I know the feeling, man.
I'm pretty sure I have it around here. So I know I read it, but it's
that was the one that I wrote, and Matt Martin.
That's right.
Did the artwork for.
And that one, you had a white cover, right? Was there a white cover? Was there a white cover for that one on the cover?
Well, yes, I had. Well, I did a Norman Rockwell for it, like I do.
That's right.
Like, yeah, I've done that with the last few though. I love doing those because I use more of a painter style with that.
Right.
And I want to say we did 3 covers for that one. I know Matt did the main cover. and I did a regular variant, and then I did the Norman Rockwell variant.
I think I have the Norman Rockwell one you did, because I think that's the one I've been getting every time. Every time you
Yeah.
do that, I'm pretty sure.
Man, I haven't done one for this newest one yet, but I know I will. I'm waiting on that image to hit me, that'll work for
Right.
it.
The one, yeah, you got to get the idea in your head, right?
Yeah. And I've been thinking about a few things, but it hadn't hit me just yet, and I know it will. Um, Sid Koshin did one of my variants for that. Um, I'm trying to remember what book was that. He was actually up for God. What are the awards they do in Baltimore? The Baltimore Con every year. He was up for one of those for.
Is it the Ringo?
Yep, he was up for a Ringo for his design of his book underneath an alien sky. That was the one that he did.
Okay. All
Oh,
right.
yeah, Sid, man, he does some mind blowing stuff, dude. It's hard to believe. He if you watched his story, when he did the Kickstarter for that, he was born blind, and I want to say it was bad cataracts or something like that, and he had surgery and he got it fixed to a thing. If you're watching though, when he's doing his sketches, especially when he's inking, he's got the little magnifying glass right down there by his lines, and I mean he is just tearing it up.
I think I follow him. I'm pretty
I'm
sure.
sure you do.
I probably do.
Sid's incredible.
Yeah, I've been trying really. It's tough. I've been trying to stay away from social media as much as possible. It's just such a distraction.
It really is.
So I mean, I don't know. You might notice I probably only have like 13, 14 posts on my Instagram account all year. I usually post my story at least once a day, just to engage with people, because the people who are coming to my story are either bots or my closer group that usually checks out my story. So I usually throw stuff on there for those people. But the posting stuff, it's such a machine,
It really is. It's gotten really bad here in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Instagram's on its way out. It's probably almost done. Facebook's been done for a while. I actually deleted Facebook and Twitter from my phone, just because I just found myself scrolling, and every 5 seconds or so, I get a video of some stupid thing of some guy like shooting something BB gun or some dumb shit. And I'm like, why am I watching this shit? I got work to do. And
exactly.
It just grabs you, right? And before you know, you've killed a half hour of your day, and you're like, what the fuck did I just do for a half hour? I just watched videos of some dumb idiot doing dumb idiot shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I should go. By that logic, I should just go do dumb idiot shit myself for a half hour instead of watching somebody else do it. It'd be way more fun.
Right. So at least you could say you did something. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Even if it was dumb idiot shit, you didn't feel like you wasted your time.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I'm looking at you here. Yeah, these are cool. When is your next one?
Man, I'm looking at February. That's when I'm looking at doing my next one. I've got to sit down and put my campaign together. Don't you hate that? I mean, I love doing them, but I hate building one.
It's tough. I actually just found out that you can actually build more than one at a time.
Really?
Yeah. So you can go in there and you can start them and build them ahead of time. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sit down probably in December and get my stuff together and get everything built out for next year. Because I have Apex 6 coming out next year. Yeah. I got the second trade coming out next year, and then I'm going to do two Blue Heart Emoji releases, an Ash Can and then issue 1. So I have 4. So if I get everything built ahead of time, or at least most of the way built, right, get them all approved, ready to go. That'd probably streamline, because usually that's my problem too. I get to the point where I'm like, I got to run this campaign, and 3 weeks before I'm going to do it, I'm like scrambling to figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it and all that stuff. And it's a pain in the ass.
It really is.
It's really the side of, other than doing taxes, I think like that.
Yeah, Kickstarter is like the taxes of comics.
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
You know, and I went through and I built a because I mean, kind of wanted to venture off of Kickstarter a little bit. You know, goof around with Backer Kit and mess around with. There's a couple other platforms. I don't know what the hell they're called. There's a few of them popping up here and there. Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Backer Kit's doing it now. There's a few smaller ones, and just kind of feel out because there's an audience out there, right? And I think, you know, the problem with people are very tribal. You know,
they really are.
Not only are people tribal, but we're kind of lazy. You know, so for the longest time, I didn't back anything on Indiegogo because I'm like, I'm not wasting my time making an account for that. I'm too lazy to have an account for that. When it's, you know, it's a simple thing, right? You know, you set it up and you know, but it is a thing, right? It's like, you know, it's the reason why everybody uses, you know, people have a preference over Uber or Lyft, right?
Oh, right.
App you have on your phone, and you don't feel like dealing with the bullshit of signing up with the other one. So you just use the one you're locked into, right? So there's a lot of barrier there, I think, where there's audience on other platforms that just aren't going to make the crossover to Kickstarter, or they don't like Kickstarter for whatever reason. Maybe they got burned by somebody there, you know, whatever, you know. And same thing for, you know, Indiegogo. People don't like it there because certain groups of people, you know, put their stuff there or whatever. I don't care about any of that shit. But
yeah, me either.
It's just a bunch of drama. But there's an audience everywhere, right? And little pockets of audience that I think that maybe I'll try and see if I can tap into some of that next year too.
Into it. Yeah. I could see you pulling on whatever platform you go into because you've got some incredible. Apex Cybernetic Samurai Owl is incredible, man. And I tell you, I can't wait to see what you do with Blue Heart Emoji. I mean, really. And hey, you were talking about the chat earlier. I got Jared. He's from Pyramid Graphic Novels. If you're not following him, check out his stuff. He's got some incredible stuff too. He's in the chat right now. Just look up Pyramid Graphic Novels.
I'll look him up right now. I might.
He's doing some awesome stuff.
Pyramid Graphic Novels. Let's see here. My phone would load. I'm on the Wi-Fi and it's acting stupid. All right, let's see here. Pyramid. All right, brain. Yeah. Pyramid. I'm like, how the hell do I spell pyramid?
It's one of those words, yeah.
Right.
It's kind of like what was that Black Sheep where you roads.
Right. Pyramid graphic novels is here. All right. Followed. All right. Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I always follow. Anybody Jerry recommends is a follow for me. That's for sure. Yeah. I almost everybody that I've met because of you, I'm like, man, these guys are cool people, man. So.
Oh yeah. Hey, that's what I do, man. I just bring coolness to the world. That's why they named me. That's why my last name is Cooley, because that's.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. That works. No, I really appreciate you coming on today, Kenny. It's awesome to catch up with you, dude. It's been too long since we've done this.
We should do it more often.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm thinking about bringing back. I don't know if you're into Marvel or the DCU or Star Wars or anything like that, but I had started doing a show where we would kind of like review MCU shows or just talk Star Wars. It was called Grumpy Old Nerds, you know.
Okay.
If you might be interested in doing something like that one of these days.
I'd have to get on board with you guys and figure out what the hell it is everybody's watching. I'm so out of the whole like MCU thing.
Right.
With the MCU, I quit watching MCU after Iron Man 3. I just
you are lost, dude.
I'm out. Yeah, I was out. I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Like they did the Mandarin wrong. I'm like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Like, there's just no respect for the source material, none whatsoever.
No. There's definitely not.
It's a bunch of people who never were part of the comic book thing, never gave a shit about comics, making these movies out of, you know. So I just after that I was like, okay, Iron Man 3. That was the hard line in the sand. I watched Endgame because one of my friends who happened to own the comic shop here was like, hey, you want to come with us? And I'm like, not really. And she's like, well, I bought you a ticket anyways. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going. So I went to see that. I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie.
No.
I really liked, Iron Man 1 was great. It was such a such a cool movie, because we hadn't seen anything like it.
I wish they'd have kept that going.
Yeah. And with the X-Men, as bad as the scripts were with those, I mean, they did a really terrible job with the source material with X-Men, but the castings were just so good.
Oh, the castings were dynamic, but like you said, the scripting was just, they butchered the source material. They really did.
I watched like 10 minutes of that last one they did, Dark Phoenix or whatever.
Oh, it's garbage.
I'm like, how did you do worse than X3?
Yeah. Exactly. I actually enjoyed X3 more than I did the Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah, I got 10 minutes in that.
It was horrible.
But I mean, I did the same thing with I don't know what it is. It's like the Batman movie, the latest Batman movie. I was kind of hyped up for that one because I thought that dude was going to do a really good Batman. I never even got to the part where Batman was in the movie. The soundtrack just threw me off. I was watching it and I got about 6-7 minutes into it. I'm like, why are they jamming up these Nirvana songs, dude, during this Batman thing? Like, so weird. Like, it's so out of place. So I just turned off. I wasn't interested. But yeah, I tried to watch Mandalorian. It was pretty cool. Everybody's like, you got to get to like the 4th or 5th episode. I'm like, can it be cool in the first episode? And then I want to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's going to hook you, it ought to hook you right out of the gate.
So yeah, as far as Marvel and DC go, I haven't read anything from DC in so long. For Marvel though, I do go through the Marvel Unlimited app and read the comic there. So I'll sometimes try and see if any of the new stuff's any good. Most of the time it's not very good, but I've been flipping through like the old like John Byrne, Chris Claremont X-Men run. God, yeah. I went all the way from 1962 all the way to current on Uncanny X-Men in the last like 6 months. Man, let me tell you, some incredible shit in there. I used to be such a hardcore. I mean, I still am, but I used to be such a hardcore X-Men fan from like the Jim Lee, Chris Claremont run where that first one started. Because that's what I started with, right? And man, like nothing's better to me, I think, now than that. The one before it, I think it was John Byrne and Chris Claremont. I think was that run, which is like most of the animated series stuff was based off of that stuff. It was. So they had like the old costumes, but like the animated series had like the new costumes, but like the old stories. Right. And it was really cool. So I was reading through it. I'm like, oh, that's where they got that from. Oh, that's where they got that from. Oh, that's where they got that from. It was so cool to like read through it. And it was kind of neat to visit that stuff. And the art is just incredible. I didn't think I like it very much because like I think Arthur Adams was part of that, right? John Byrne and who was the other big one that did art for them?
Dave
Cockrum, yeah, and all that stuff. I was like going through it. I'm like, I can't believe how much I'm liking this. Like I was just like so into the Jim Lee stuff that I didn't think I'd ever be into that other stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of the opposite. Now I'm like, I like Jim Lee shit, but
yeah. After you see those guys, and not only that was kind of the gold period for Chris Claremont. I mean, honestly, after reading those, and then, well, I was just like you. I was hooked on the Jim Lee to begin with, and I thought that story was so awesome. But after going back and reading some of that older stuff, I was like, wow, I kind of picked up on Claremont after he'd peaked and was kind of coming back down, because that stuff was kind of his mountaintop, Well,
he stuck around for a little bit through the Jim Lee stuff, right? And then Jim Lee left, or no, he left, and then Jim Lee left after him, right?
Yeah,
I think, right?
Yeah. But I want to say he only stayed on. What was it? The first
four issues, five.
5 issues,
Omega
I
Red.
believe, of the new series that was kind of just it was supposed to belong just to him and Jim.
Right, right. You know, have you read all that stuff? Have you read all that? Because
Yeah,
there's an interesting thing in there that I thought was kind of crazy. So, are you familiar with the whole thing where they're invisible to like cameras and shit, like technology?
I think so. I think
So
it's been so long since I read anything about any of that.
this thing ran for I want to say probably almost a decade. Where so they supposedly died in Dallas, like all the X-Men died at this
Yeah,
in this event in Dallas, and there some divine being or some shit, I can't remember exactly what it was, but brought them back to life. But they were back to life, but they couldn't be seen by technology. So like
right.
video cameras and shit couldn't pick them up. And this ran all the way to the new Jim Lee shit, right? And then it just disappeared. They never even like ended
They
that
never
thing.
finished the story.
Yeah, because there was a lot of shit where like when Wolverine was doing like the patch thing, like Madripoor and all that shit.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
supposed. The reason why he was doing that is because he was supposed to be dead, and they didn't want anybody to know that they were alive.
Right,
So that's why
right.
he had the alter ego, like Patch or whatever. And yeah, so that whole thing they just kind of forgot to write it out. So it just
Wow.
like it was just like it's like a huge gap, like where they're like, oh, you can't be seen by technology, but then you go to X-Men 1, Jim Lee, Chris Claremont,
Right.
and they're on the video monitors, they're on the thing, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck happened to that? So you got to do a little research, and they're like, Chris Claremont apparently said, oh well, we got rid of it on this issue in this panel, and it was just like that was it. It was done. They're like, oh yeah, it's done. So
now I remember some of that because it was kind of brought up a good bit of it in Extinction Agenda when he was running around as Patch. When Psylocke when she was working for oh God. I tell you, I haven't read these issues since I was a kid.
It's been like 6 months, I don't remember. It's been like 6 months and I don't remember.
Yeah, it was not the Mandarin, but Shinobi Shaw. She was working for Shinobi Shaw. She was like brainwashed or something like that, if I remember right. And Patch, well, Wolverine was running around with Jubilee kind of in hiding, and he was talking to Nick Fury and somebody else, and Jubilee kept saying, "Who are you talking to?" Because they were invisible. She couldn't see them for some reason.
Right. I actually remember that. That was a Wolverine book, right? I think it was in Wolverine.
Yeah. No, that was Uncanny X-Men.
Was it? It was. Yeah. I like Jubilee is always like my favorite sidekick. Like
as
far as X-Men goes, like Wolverine sidekick. But I gotta say, I didn't like Shadowcat like forever. I'm like, what? Shadowcat sucks. Like it's just like, kind of like an annoying character to me. And I actually kind of like Shadowcat a little bit. Going through those old runs.
Carol Danvers, Jerry said that's right. It was Nick Fury and Carol Danvers. That's exactly right.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I'd forgot that it was Carol. I knew it was Nick, but I couldn't remember who the female was. But yeah, you're right, Jared. It was Carol.
Quite a bit too. Carol Danvers was in those books quite a bit too.
She was.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget that's where Rogue got her powers from.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I knew that from the cartoon, but I never read through the whole thing with her. I thought it was just kind of like a one-off thing, but she was a big part of the story.
Yeah, she almost killed her. She took so much from her.
Yeah, that was cool. In the original Nimrod origin, where Nimrod came in and he was kind of like a human. He didn't know what he was. He was kind of, which I thought was kind of interesting too, because I was like, this is totally different than I thought. Because Nimrod's awesome. What a cool character. I don't know if you've followed any of the new stuff, but
I've heard rumors that they brought him back.
He's badass. I think that's probably like the shining like thing with the new X-Men comics is like Nimrod is he's savage. He's less like a robot and more he's got a little bit of personality compared to the old Nimrod, So it's kind of interesting. That's kind of one of my favorite parts about the new era of X-Men. So
Yeah, I haven't kept up with the new books like I wanted to. I jumped back on when oh God, Hickman, when Hickman Powers of X, House of X.
That
I
was
jumped
good.
back on then.
The problem is that they always do this with X-Men books is they just get, I don't know if it's that they're just getting greedy, what the hell, but there's like 80 books to read. And
Oh God, yeah.
first of all, I don't have the money to buy all those books. Two, I'm not spending all my time reading all that shit.
No.
You know, it's way too much. They branch it off in way too many different directions.
Right.
And I get it, there's thousands of characters, right? But I mean, you didn't have that problem with the old ones. I mean, you had X-Men, X-Force, X Factor. It was a good amount of books, but I don't think it was too much. Now it's like you got 10, 15 different titles. And then they do a crossover event every month and a half. It's too much.
Used to, I mean, I remember when they did one a year, and that was a lot to ask for.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you literally had to get every issue to know what was going on.
It's crazy. I don't know how I kept up with it when I was a kid. Cause I mean, I'd go,
I don't know either.
I'd go and buy a comic book from the store and that would be it. That's all I'd see of that series for 5-6 months. Cause I'd go back to the store. Either they didn't have it. Cause I used to get them from the grocery store up the street.
Right.
Either they didn't have it. So we didn't have any place to go buy it here. We had a comic shop kind of, it was more towards like the sports card kind of thing. So most of the time he didn't have the comic books anyways. And if he did, he didn't want us in the store anyways, because he didn't want us messing with the sports memorabilia and shit, So
that's right.
It wasn't very kid friendly anyways. The guys, he'd cuss us out and kick us out of the store before we could even do anything in there. So
yeah. I tell you, I remember going in. We had this little convenient. Well, actually, it was a 7-Eleven. It was at the front of the little subdivision I lived in Jonesboro, Georgia, and we would all get together, on our bikes or whatever, and ride up there to the store. And I mean, we'd go in with what little bit of money we'd gathered up from cutting grass or whatever, and buy a buttload of comics. And a Slurpee or a Frosty or whatever, and go out there, sit on the sidewalk in front of the store and read the comics. And we got through. Hey man, you want to read this one? Yeah. We traded up, and that's where I really got into it big time. Because during that time, you had Jim Lee on Uncanny. You had no. Wait a minute, I might be overstaking that. Yeah, Jim Lee was on Uncanny. Silvestri was on Wolverine. You had because he had already left Uncanny. You had Liefeld on what was he doing? X-Force. Or it might have been still New Mutants during that time period. He might not have made the jump yet. And let's see. Wills hadn't come into the picture yet, I don't believe, unless he was doing X Factor. Maybe.
I don't remember
doing X Factor
when I was a kid. I don't think I ever seen one until I was probably in my 20s. I knew it existed, but like we had such a limited amount of stuff because like we had a 7-Eleven too. The only comics they had at 7-Eleven were Sonic the Hedgehog comics for some reason.
Yeah.
So we always because they had the Archie one. So they had Archie because Archie and Sonic were under the same banner. So they had all that stuff there. And then the other store, one of the stores at the grocery center on one side of the street always had the DC comics, like Detective Comics and Batman or whatever. And like sometimes they'd have Superman or Green Lantern or whatever. And then the other store across the street always had the Marvel shit. So we knew that if you wanted the Marvel shit, you had to go to the store across the street. The one on this side had DC, and then the 7-Eleven had Archie and that kind of shit.
Yeah. So you had all three worlds right there in that little.
We had all that stuff there. Yeah, but yeah, we used to go. I mean, we used to do the same thing. We used to go up to the store. We used to ride up to the store on our bikes, go steal cigarettes off the counter because they used to keep them on the counter right in front. We used to go steal cigarettes. We're my generation's the reason why they don't put cigarettes on the counter anymore. We used to just grab them off the counter and walk out of the store. Yeah. But we used to go spend our money on comics, steal cigarettes, and then go smoke cigarettes and read comics.
Go smoke and read, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun shit. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. But I couldn't even imagine like cigarettes just being out within reach of kids. Like,
No.
it's wild.
I tell you, we lived in a special time. We really did. These kids, they don't know what they missed, man. I mean, they really don't.
It is.
And they
Yeah.
never will, is the sad part.
Yeah. Maybe it's for the best. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, we have nostalgia for it, right? But maybe it isn't for the best. Or maybe it is.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, kids got their own thing nowadays, but I mean, it, it is what it is. But once again, man, I appreciate you coming on. Hey, plug your stuff, man. Tell them where to follow you. And then I didn't put you in down there yet in the description, but as soon as we get finished with the show, I'm gonna put you in there. But anything you want to plug the shit out of it.
Let me show you this real quick. So I don't know. Have you seen these yet? You got one of these, right?
I haven't got one yet.
So this is
yes, I did. I got the hardback.
So you got the hardback. Okay, so that's this one here. So check this out. I haven't showed.
Wow.
So
that's beautiful.
So this came out really good. It's got
yes,
a little
it did. That is gorgeous.
So and then the cover, the dust cover comes off.
Oh yeah. That looks amazing.
It came out really good. Yeah. So this is the company that I just referred you to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did fantastic work. That looks really incredible.
Good. So their customer service though is really good. So like I was having trouble getting my dust jacket sized, and they actually went through because you drop your pages into the file on the page. So they're uploading things a little different than what I've had to deal with before.
Right.
And give me the template based off of what dimensions I put in for the book, and then I was having a little bit of trouble getting it correctly in the margins or with the bleeds and all that. Yeah. And they just had somebody come in. They had a tech come in, and they just resized it, everything right there. I could see them doing it on the screen.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so really cool. Yeah, so
that's really outstanding, man.
Yeah, so then they digitally proof that one, and then these guys I did through Comics Wellspring. This is the actual production one here. So that's
huge.
This
Wellspring does an awesome job. I went with them on my last Kickstarter, and I was really impressed with them.
I do all my books locally except for those because my local printer can't do hardcovers and he can't do the shiny stuff.
Right.
And the perfect bound is what it's called. I think perfect bound. He can do saddle stitch, so he can do up to like 48 pages saddle stitch, and that's it. And his book, I mean, you have some of my books. The paper quality it's
incredible.
It's really good. So we went through hundreds of different types of paper and all that shit. So anyways, yeah, I wanted to show you that. So these are coming though. I'm going to be locking down surveys for these tomorrow, and I'm going to start packing orders tomorrow. So I just got everything in. Awesome. These just came in. So I ordered these before I ordered these.
Yeah.
These showed up within 2 weeks. This took a month to get here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the hardcovers came quick. These were from the UK.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so I think these guys have a lot of work. These guys have a lot more stuff, so it's in a queue, right? Yeah. Whereas these guys are like, hey, we got a new project, boom, let's get that shit done. So
right.
I think that's what happened with those, but yeah.
So
really,
usually you get Comics Wellspring within 2 weeks.
Yeah, I get a physical proof, and then you got to prove the proof, and then have
right.
It's a month process because it takes 2 weeks to get your proof, and then 2 weeks to get your book. So they came on time. Those ones took a month, but those other ones it was less than 2 weeks. I had books. I had a big ass crate of books on my porch.
Wow.
So pretty cool. So yeah, I guess I'll get my stuff for you, and I'll let you get out of here.
I'm in no rush, man.
Keep talking. So
it's all good.
I'm on Instagram, Kenny Aiken Art. I'm starting a website soon, Moonfire Lab. This is actually the first time. Actually, I guess I'll say that too. This is the first time my own imprint, Moonfire Lab. You can see it right there. It's on my hat, Moonfire Lab. This is going to be my comics imprint going forward. Everything's going to go under that banner. So I'll have some social media stuff for that later. I'm not quite there yet on that, but Kenny Aiken Art, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I guess it's called X now, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. It's I don't know why you change the name of something like that. It's so weird. Like,
Yeah. Makes
such
no sense. You
yeah.
spend all those years, all that time just building a brand, and you get somebody come in and buy it up, and oh fuck that. Let's call it X.
I mean, I think it's kind of. I guess it's cool because he's just like, hey, I'm just gonna disrupt this whole system, which is kind of what he
Yeah.
did,
That's
which is fine.
yeah.
I don't know. At least for me, I know that like I haven't had any bots since he took over. I used to every day just bots for days, and so since I'm not quite bilingual yet, but I do speak some Japanese. I get bots from Japan too.
Wow.
Well, I was anyways. Yeah, so it was kind of interesting when I started getting bots in Japanese too, as well as English. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, ever since he took over, I've had no bots, none in my inbox. Very rarely will I get a bot messaging me on Twitter now, X, I guess you call it. So,
wow,
maybe he's doing something right. I have no idea. I can't get into the specifics of all that craziness because it's just such a wild thing. But so yeah, I'm on there, Kenny Aiken Art. Yeah, next Kickstarter probably in the spring. Maybe we can get together and we can coordinate our campaigns together and maybe.
Hell yeah. I'd love to do a dual launch and maybe do some art. I'll do some artwork from you. You do some artwork for me, and if everybody backs both of them, they get a free print of all of it or whatever. That would be.
Let's do something like that.
Something awesome.
Yeah, because I want to do something. I think Blue Heart Emoji. I think for probably February-ish is probably right about that time where I think I want to launch something because I got 4 things next year that I want to launch for sure.
You got a full year, buddy.
I do because that's a lot of that's a lot of work. And then I have a children's book I've been working on too that on the side is gonna be like an Amazon launch. I think. I don't think I'm gonna do a Kickstarter for it because it's just I don't think the market's quite there for. I see a lot of people struggle with that on Kickstarter. I see people doing it.
Yeah,
but I don't.
You see it, but it's hard. Looks like it would be hard.
I don't want to work that hard, so I think I'm just going to launch it on. I'm going to launch it on Amazon and just do it like a digital print on demand kind of thing. And if it gets legs and goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, it's it's my project, but it's somebody else's project. So that they're ultimately it's up to them to decide how they want to manage it. So,
I tell you somebody that might could have some insight for that. I'm trying to think of his. Oh God, Derek. D knows him too. I tell you what, when I get off of here, I'll shoot you his info because he is he on his second or third published book, children's book that he does all the work for.
Nice.
Derek Doodles. That's it. Derek Doodles on Instagram.
Derek Doodles. I'm on that. Derek Doodles.
Yep.
Yeah, it's I've had this one for a while. It's I've been working on it for a bit. It's not something I think I want to that I'm gonna probably make a career out of. But I mean, it's it's work. It brings in brings in a paycheck, and it's it's mildly entertaining. To do. Children's book. It's kind of a little different than what I
with Derek. Derek, and you'll love Derek. Derek is an awesome guy. He could definitely give you some insight on that though, and help out with that.
Derek Doodley?
Derek? No. I tell you what, when we get off of here, I'll shoot it to you.
Yeah, just send it to me. I'll follow him.
We'll sort it out. Well, you can check it out and get up with him. But hey, I really appreciate you coming on, Kenny. I always love talking to you, brother. It's a pleasure to know you, man. And I love what you're doing. I love what you're bringing to the industry. I can't wait for this new project. I can't wait to see what you do with Apex. Hey, I'm the president of your fan club, dude. That's just all there is to it.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome to have you on, man. And you take care, brother.
Yeah, you too, man.
And that's our show. So I hope y'all had a great time. I hope you really enjoyed getting to meet Kenny and hear about all his stuff. Be sure and follow him. check out all his books. Incredible stuff. Everything he does, he's got the Midas touch. So be sure and check him out. Um, hey, come join us again next week. Got another awesome creator. You guys, if you haven't done it, ring that bell. Go ahead, get notified, subscribe, tell everybody. You guys take it easy. Have a blessed one. Kenny, good to see you again, brother.
See ya.
And that's it, folks. That's the show.